And now we're on the final stage, more or less, of designing a rubric, which is figuring out how to decide on the descriptors, or they're also called performance statements, and the points in the rubric. All right, so we've decided on the criteria, and we now know that those come from the learning aims, right? We know that we don't want to have too many because it becomes very confusing for everyone. And now we need to decide on the descriptors. How do we describe performance? So for example, where do we see that? These are the descriptors, where we actually decide what passes, what fails, or whether something is excellent, good, or poor. These are our descriptors. This is the criteria. These are the descriptors that tell us the level of performance. Now, how do we decide on those? Well, this can actually be one of the harder parts of designing a rubric. The descriptors and the points can be determined once you know the broad levels you would like students to demonstrate mastery of. So now we need to figure out what type of scores we will assign based on each level of mastery. Most rating scales include between 3 and 5 levels, like you see here. Here are just 2 levels. Why? Because it's pass-fail. Here we see there are 3. Fail, that's insufficient. 1 point, 2 points. Okay. Again, you don't want too many because this can become quite confusing for people. Some teachers use a combination of numbers and descriptive labels like exceptional, 4 points, satisfactory, 3 points, etc., while other teachers simply assign numbers, percentages, letter grades, or any combination of the 3 for each level. You can arrange them from highest to lowest, or lowest to highest, as long as your levels are organized and easy to understand. Now again, what we saw in this one was that it's organized from highest to lowest. I tend to think left to right. So when I design rubrics, I tend to start with, oh no, here I've done it that way as well. Highest to lowest. It's up to you as long as it's clear to the user, to the reader, okay, why it's laid out like that. Now, write descriptors for each level of your rubric. This is probably your most difficult step. Here you will need to write short statements of your expectations underneath each performance level for every single criteria. The descriptions should be specific and measurable. The language should be parallel to help with student comprehension, and the degree to which the standards are met should be explained. Okay, so again, to use an analytic essay rubric as an example, if your criteria was organization and you used the 4 exceptional, 3 satisfactory, 2 developing, and 1 unsatisfactory scale, so 1 to 4, you would need to write the specific content a student would need to produce to meet each level. It could look something like this. I'm sorry there. So for example, for organization, when would something be exceptional, highest to lowest? When organization is coherent, unified, and effective in support of the paper's purpose, and consistently demonstrates effective and appropriate transitions between ideas and paragraphs. And then the satisfactory level, we see parallel language. Organization is coherent and unified, in support of the paper's purpose, and usually demonstrates, like here. So here we see it's like, this is 100%. This is usually, it's like 80%. Developing, organization is coherent, but is ineffective at times and may demonstrate abrupt or weak transition. So this would be like 60%. And then unsatisfactory. Organization is confused and fragmented. It does not support the essay's purpose and demonstrates a lack of structure or coherence that negatively affects readability. So this is less than 50%, right? What we see here in parallel language is that basically it's written in the same way with slight differences to make clear when something is exceptional and when it's unsatisfactory on the scale. Now, a holistic rubric isn't going to do it this way. So a holistic rubric might look more like 6, for the whole essay. The essay demonstrates excellent composition skills, thesis, organization, lively and convincing materials. So what we see here is everything is all in that one descriptor, right? This is a descriptor for an analytic rubric. So the holistic rubric descriptors will look different. So basically that's how you decide on descriptors. Now, what I find quite often the hardest part, I always joke with my students saying this is why I'm a language teacher and not a maths teacher, is that you need to figure out the points system so that they make sense to the user and so that they're, not incorrect. So for example, you could say, like in this rubric I designed, we've got automatic fail. And what I've had to make clear to people is if they fail anything in this column, it's an automatic fail. So if they have one of these boxes here, it's automatically a 5. If they have 2 of these boxes, it's automatically a 4, a 3, a 2, a 1, okay? So it's clear to the reader, the user, the student, the learner, when they would fail the essay. And it's based on anything in this column. Now here we've got, these are worth 1 point. Oh, and you see I've left this out. Well, because this is a crucial element of the essay. We want them basically to do it, or not do it. This is kind of a make or break. We want them to be able to include counter arguments and rebuttals. And if they don't, it's an automatic fail. So there's nothing in between here. This is an important element of the essay. So here's the point breakdown. 7 out of 12 would be a 5.5. So for example, they could get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they would have to get something in the higher column in this part. And here maybe they get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here they get 7, right? They automatically get 2 points. They can't get 1. So that would mean it's a 5.5. It's a pass. Now, when do they get a 10, 100% perfect score? When they get 12 out of 12. And we see what's the total maximum? Well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. So 12 is the maximum. What's the lowest score possible? Well, a 1, and that's if they get automatic fails in this column, 5 of these, right? Again, this can be the hardest part about developing a rubric, is the point allocation. Now, do rubrics have to have points? Well, no, but it's helpful. It helps the learners to understand why they get a certain numerical mark. Why they might get a 6 or why they got a 4. The points help to make this clear to everyone. All right. I do hope that has helped to explain everything there is to know about rubrics, specifically in this video, the descriptors, levels of performance, and the points. Thanks for watching.